Here today with Jonathan and Jordan.
Hello,
Good
everyone.
evening, everybody. Sorry.
Right.
Oddly enough, this is one of the smoothest intros we've had in a while. Kind of remarkable considering it took about 90 seconds in order to stop laughing to press go.
Well, let's not fall back into that. Right then. So you'll be muted if you don't. If there's no order. Right then. So what we're going to do today is we're going to talk about important plant terms. But first, Jonathan, what have you done in the garden?
This week I've had a few half days, so I've built. I've had some pallet collars, which were kindly given to me from a lady that I did work previous for. So I have how many of them? 8 in total. So I've stacked them up. So I have 4, and so over the last few days I've been ordering soil and lining them out and filling them. So with the half days that I've had, so that's one of the main things I've been doing. I'm ready for maybe potatoes. I'm not sure what I'm going to put in them yet. And what have you been up to?
Well, I've sown some chives, some chili peppers called Prairie Fire, which, as I said on the last one, they're a spicy rating of 8, so they're nothing to sniff about. I put some peppermint in, and I've done some radishes. Now, I'm not a fan of F1s, but these ones are called Vienna F1. Um, got them as a gift, so I thought what I'll do is I'll try them out, see if they work, since I've never done this before.
Hmm.
And I thought if I learn by using these ones, then I can take what I've learned and use it on my seeds I got from Chilton.
That's right. Yeah. If it all becomes a bit of a failure, then you'll know what you've done wrong and
Yeah.
learn from it. Yeah. Yeah. It's all a learning curve. Even now, even myself, I've been a gardener for many years. I still make the odd mistake.
Well, all the ones that I'm growing, unless I otherwise say, I'm growing them indoors. So
Uh,
hopefully I can learn all of about growing stuff indoors, and then hopefully help people out and show them what's actually possible. Because I had no idea what was possible until I started reading around this subject.
yeah. Yeah. That is the main thing. It's like everybody's got to make a start somewhere, and you've done ever so well so far. Brilliant.
Thanks. So with the radishes, the seedlings started to appear around 6 days, and then I thinned them out after 11 days. It's normally done between 10 and 12 days, apparently.
Yeah.
So you don't get any actual radish root, but you just get the seedlings, and I
So
had
they,
them on.
they
Well,
so how far do they get? So before you, so we all know. Do they open up the first set of leaves, and you've got some sort of basis of a root system going on, or how far down the line do you go?
um, well, they've got their. I think they've got their cotyledons. I don't think they've got the first sets of leaves.
No.
And they ain't got much of a root system either. It's really to allow all the ones that are remaining to have more space to develop the actual root, the
Yeah.
actual bulb that we know as radishes. But yeah, you can eat them. You can eat all of the radish, and they're really nice. Chop them up, put them in some tuna with a bit of chives, put it on a jacket potato. Really nice.
Sounds nice. Very nice.
And the chive seedlings started to appear after about 10 days, and they're starting to grow quite fast now.
Yeah. Yeah.
But nothing yet on the peppermint or the chili peppers. But I'm expecting them to take a while anyway.
Yeah. Gonna say with the chilies, they might need the extra heat. On a radiator to set the germination off.
Yeah,
Uh,
I might have to
I,
try them.
I find that with some varieties of tomatoes and peppers are also another one that that do need that extra bit of warmth to just set seed.
Yeah. Well, I'll have to try that.
Or what you can do is another trick is you can put them in the fridge for like about a week before you actually plant them. Then they've had that cold dormant stage, and when you go to plant them or when you go to use them, they will germinate much quicker.
All right. Well, I've got some old cress seeds which I've put in the fridge after what you said, and I'm just waiting at the moment. But it'd be interesting to know if they'll actually work. I mean, I think they were meant to be used in 2009. So,
Yeah.
well,
It's funny you should say that. My missus was having a rummage through the drawer looking for something. I don't know what she was looking for, and she found a load of seeds, and one of them was crests. So it's like, oh, I know. I'll do the thing that we all do for children, is get some cotton wool. You get an egg, obviously a hard-boiled egg, and then you take the insides out and cut the top off, and you can draw a little face on them, put them in an eggshell, put the cotton wool inside, and then you can sprinkle the cressins in the very top and pour some water in, and it looks like a little man with funky hair or lady with funky hair.
yeah, that'd be good. That.
Yeah, it's good for the children. It gets them going. It gives them a bit of interest in it.
That sounds like a wonderful project, actually.
Yeah, it's good. It is good. The thing is, you can grow them. You don't have to do it in an egg, but it looks better in an egg, if you see what I mean, because you can put little smiley faces and stuff on there.
More engaging for kids, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, on the microgreens subject, I've tried microgreens again with the radishes again. They work out really well. So if you want to get into microgreens, I'd definitely recommend radishes. You put them in, and after about 6 days, they're ready to eat.
That's it. Yeah, that's the ones. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're quite cool. I mean, that's better. Yeah, let the kids do the artwork themselves because it looks better for the kids. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm also trying some fenugreek again. I'm using a lot less seed. I'm using a lot less seeds than I did the first time round. So hopefully that actually increases the chances that I'll be able to eat these.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, because the last lot they went a bit crazy, didn't they?
yeah, put way too many seeds in, and then they just went absolutely bonkers. They sort of grew around each other, held each other back, and I had to throw them all.
Well, you didn't try them in the end, then you just threw them away.
Unfortunately, yeah. But hopefully I get more experience this time. I'm wanting to do a lot more with microgreens. Trying to do it as cheaply as possible using things that you get from the supermarket. You know, that you'll get anywhere from when you buy food packaging, and just see if it works. If it does, then I'll report back here to hopefully inspire some other people to give it a try.
Yeah, cause with these crests, you don't have to do that. I mean, if you wanted to do it as for yourself, not for children, you could use an old mushroom container and do the same principle again with cotton wool and grow them that way. Or if you really want to be experimental, you could use rock wool.
What was that?
Rock wool is glass fibre.
That's fine. All right.
Yeah, glass fibre.
Right. Has anyone in chat got anything they'd like to share that they've done in the garden?
That's it. Yeah. You can have you can see them as plugs, but they use them a lot for hydroponics.
I've always wondered, could you take the rock wool that you see in B&Q and use that?
Yes.
Or is this specially treated rock wool that they're cut into cubes?
No, it's not specially treated. No, it's the same stuff. All it is glass fibre. They don't add anything extra. Yeah, so you can use that.
Right, shall we get on to the topic?
Yeah.
Right then. So the topic: important plant terms. So when you buy seeds, you'll notice that they'll have some words on them that say like perennial, annual, biannual, hardy, and half hardy. Well, today we're going to cover what these mean. So let's start with perennial. Jonathan?
Yeah, perennials. So they grow the first year and bloom and set seed and die. So that's all in one year. A biannual plant, you'll plant this year and it will grow over the, say, like a winter. So like broccoli, cauliflower, things like that will go follow you through. Kale's another one. And they tend to go over to the following year. Carrots you can do it with. There's spinach is another one. I can't think of any more off my top of my head. But yeah, they tend to be. There's no actual perennials, vegetable perennials, apart from one, which is rhubarb, and it comes back every year,
Well, what I've got here is chives.
The
That's a
chives, yeah,
perennial.
that's a perennial, yeah.
Yeah,
But it's not.
I've heard that they die back in the winter, and they
They,
need to do that so that when they grow again, they grow a lot better.
yeah, and they can be slightly evergreen as well, so that they will go right through the whole seasons.
All right.
Yeah,
And peppermint as well. I've got that on the list of perennials.
yeah, that's another perennials. But they're not. Obviously, these are more herb on the herb side of stuff than they are on the side of vegetables.
Yeah,
They're
well,
not.
I've got strawberries, specific alpine strawberry, Alexandria variety.
Yeah, but I prefer. They are nice, but I do prefer our own native wild ones. But they make a fantastic jam. If anybody's into that jam making and things like that, they do make a fantastic jam.
Yeah, I've picked up some of those seeds from Chilton.
Which the wild ones you mean, or
Yeah, the alpine
the
strawberries.
alpine because there's the alpine and there's our native wild strawberry. So the alpines come from like Switzerland, Italy, around those sorts of areas, but they're not exactly the same as our British ones. But they are just as nice, just as nice.
Yeah. Did you mention biennials, didn't you? You've gone into what they are.
Perennials,
No,
perennials.
biennials.
Oh, biennials, yeah, biennials. So you can grow this. You'll grow this year, and follow through the winter, and then set seed is the terminology. Set seed the following year. So, um, say like if it was a cauliflower, you could have it right the way through to the end of the year instead of letting it winter. Because if it winters and goes into the following year, it will set seed the following year. So early, if you wanted to take it right up to about February, unless they start setting seed.
Well, for biennials, I've got Swiss chard, foxglove, and forget me nots as examples.
Mm. Yeah, foxglove, but yeah, foxgloves are poisonous. I hasten to add, but they are a herb for heart conditions.
All
But I,
right.
I, I wouldn't, unless you're a really well trained herbalist, I wouldn't use them.
Bees seem to love them as well.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Again, a lot of the ones that you buy in the supermarket, well, the seeds that you buy in the supermarket, people go, "Oh yeah, great! I'll have some foxglove this year," and they start growing them, and they think that they've got them for this year, but no, they'll have to have them the following year because they die back, they grow and die back to a small clump, and then reflower the following year. So growing foxglove from seed and expecting the flower to grow that year is always disappointing for a lot of people.
Right. Annuals. Oh, yeah. Would you like to go a little bit into that?
Annuals, yeah. So annuals, you've got. There's a lot on annuals. Goodness me. So all your salad crops are annuals, basically. What else have we got on annuals? So you have things like. Hang on a minute. I'm googling as well. For your annuals, so. Oh yeah, the one you did miss for biannuals is onions,
All right.
because you'll set the seed of an onion this year and you won't get that fruit to the following year. But for annuals, I'm trying to think now.
Well, I've got baby carrots, Amsterdam forcing.
Yeah,
I've got aubergine, Black Beauty, which you can see on the screen
yeah,
now. And I've got dill.
dill, yeah, which would grow if you can keep it. You can grow. You can keep it going, um, as long as it's in a frost-free pocket. You can keep it growing a bit like fennel. What's he taking now?
Have you tried Amsterdam forcing,
No,
by the way?
no, I haven't.
It's something I ordered from Chiltern, so it'd be interesting to see what they're like.
Ah, yeah. I've got this year. I've got Manchester carrots. They were bred. They've been bred for the last 100 years or more. But they're a very hardy carrot. But I haven't come across this one yet.
No, right. Yeah, there's a right rabbit hole that you can go down when you first start looking at the seeds and you see all
Oh,
these really weird varieties.
yeah. And we've all come across the rainbow one so far, haven't we?
Yeah, yeah. It'd be interesting to know if they taste noticeably different to the ones you buy in the supermarket, because
Hmm.
it does get a bit boring and samey when you get the same types of veg.
Well, they're just mass produced, aren't they? It's a bit like a lot of things these days. They all grow the same seed. You get the same carrots in all the supermarkets because that's what they think the customer wants. It's not very often you get much variety.
Yeah. So, shall we go on to hardy?
Yeah, Hardee's. So what have you got for Hardee's?
Well, I've got beetroot, so the Chioggia.
Yeah,
I've got broad bean, the Sutton dwarf,
yeah,
and green broccoli, green sprouting.
yeah. Kale's another one. Um, chard is another one. Yeah,
So, what does it mean? What does it mean when they're hardy?
hardy. It means that they're not prone to the frost.
All right.
So you can let them run through through a frost area, but the only thing is, by them saying they're hardy, you wouldn't want them to go to the full extent of size because they don't taste as nice. Cabbage, yeah, cabbage is another one. Um, Cauliflower, broccoli, Brussels sprouts.
So the things you would imagine as your traditional winter veg, basically.
Yes, yes, yeah.
So, what about the half hardy?
Half hardies. You half hard. There's a few half hardies. To come to mind. Things to come to mind.
Well, radishes is one that I came
Right.
up with.
Yeah, but then when they're half hardy and you want them to go through the winter, they will soon as the summer comes. They have to be into cloches. That's a pair of wellies. No, cloches. if they're not under cloches, they will set seed and they will get frost. They will get frost damage. That's the only issue with them.
All right.
And have you ever had radishes when they just don't seem quite right? They got a bit like their fruit doesn't. It's a bit sort of gappy and weird.
Gappy. What?
Yeah,
Old?
it's sort of like it starts becoming old and loose and a bit not right. They just don't taste right and they just don't look right.
Well, I have heard that you've got to pull them up before when they're younger, so don't allow them to mature because then the flavour goes.
Yeah. It's a fine balance.
What about tomatoes? Because I've got tomato golden sunrise.
Now this is something that I was looking into the other day, and I was talking to a few friends. Now, there's a place near me. Yeah, I've got the yellow vine tomatoes this year. I'm going to try those this year. Now, there's a farm near me. They're Japanese, these people, and they have tomato plants that they've kept growing for the last. They haven't let them die. They have been growing for the last 8 to 10 years, and I don't know how they do it. I really don't know how they manage to keep a tomato to go that long. I'd have to find out, and I'll have to go and visit them. It's only up the road from me, so I'm going to go and I might take a few days out and go up and have a look and meet them.
Well, that'd be interesting.
Yeah.
Do they normally, how long do they normally go on for before they die?
Well, really, it's up into the first frost, really, because they become all loose and the plant just becomes too top heavy. Excuse me.
So have you tried these golden sunrise? Out of curiosity. Ooh. Well, another one.
The dog's kidnapped him.
Yeah.
No, I'm back. Sorry.
He's back.
No,
There we go.
Yeah, I didn't want to mess on the floor. No, yeah. So yeah, these people they're Japanese and they're fascinating. What I've been told about them, they're absolutely fascinating. These people, they don't use any chemicals or anything on the ground, and they do this theory of no dig. But yeah, so yeah, when your tomatoes get to a certain point, you obviously have to pull back the leaves so the sunlight gets to the fruit, so they fully ripen. So I don't know how they go around manage to keep a tomato that long.
These are the other ones I got as my examples. Squashes, the disco variety.
Yeah, disco squashes. I like the ones that. Yeah, they're interesting. I do like the summer squashes. They come in all sorts of shapes and sizes, and they are very, very, very nice. You can make some lovely soups and pies, and you can mash them. You can do all sorts of things with them. They are lovely.
Well, I've heard that if you get a couple of squash plants going, you're basically fine for squashes forever. You're basically sorted for them. Do you agree with that?
Yes, I do. So I'm reading 3 things all at the same time. Sorry. Yeah. Yeah. They say that again. Sorry, I got sidetracked.
I've heard that if you get 2 squash plants growing, you're basically sorted for squashes. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, you don't want. Yeah, because they do go on the ramble across all over the place, so you've got to be careful. The only thing you have to be really careful of is slugs, and slugs will devastate them. And that's when you go into the realms of nematodes, if you can do that. And do we all know what nematodes are? Or
I think didn't we talk about it on the previous stream?
We have done, yeah. If you have nematodes, and also if you're growing them in pots, if you're growing them in the ground, it's fine. But if you're growing them in pots, the other thing you have to watch out for are vine weevils, because your plant will look perfectly fine, and then all you'll get is it's slowly going weird yellow colours, and it's the vine weevils underneath, and they've eaten all the roots out.
So Roy Bob says Tumbling Tom is rather easy cherry bush tomato to grow.
Yeah. This year I've gone down the route of some Czechoslovakian because they're a bit more suited to our climate. And they grow as bushes, so you can grow them outdoors instead of being in your usual greenhouse or cold frame or whatever ways you grow them. You can actually grow these ones outdoors, and they flourish perfectly well. Hello.
Oh. So Roy Bob said, I've still got some squashes left from last year. They store well.
Oh, they do. They do. As long as you leave them out in the sun to harden off, they will last you. They can last you a very, very, very long time. Yeah.
How long do you have to leave them in the sun?
Once you've picked them, you want to leave them in the sun for a good 10 days, and you need to turn them. So it's a bit. So you'll leave it in the sun and then turn it upside down so the bottom gets hardened off. It's so that the skin hardens off. So once the skin is hardened off, they will keep for a very long time.
Snufkin. I've not come across you before. Hello. I don't get many slugs because I've given a home to hedgehogs.
Oh, bless you.
Nice.
Bless you. Yeah, I have. Talking about that, I've always left a gap in the fence, a small enough gap for the hedgehog to come through, so it can wander through my garden and into the next garden as well. But they're becoming such a rarity these days that we hardly ever see them.
What, hedgehogs, really?
Yeah, it's just because people put down those nasty blue slug pellets, and they get poisoned. It's basically chucking poison down because the hedgehog will eat the slug that's just eating the blue pellet that's on the ground, and it basically poisons it. It's not very nice.
Featherston Rover, hello. Onion, carrot, lettuce and celery work well. Just plant the leftover root bit for free seeds and greens.
Yeah, they will regrow. They will regrow. You can do the same with pineapple as well, but you don't want to leave them outside. When you buy a pineapple, you can cut the base, cut the leaf section off, trim it back, and then put it in a container, which is covered container, so it keeps its humidity in there, and you can start growing pineapple again. It grow from the centre out a new pineapple. My onion plant lost.
My onions I planted last month got eaten. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
Was it the bird or was it the slugs?
Or a jealous neighbour.
A jealous neighbour, yeah. Birds are terrible for this. They will, especially if it's nice cultivated land and you've got the very tips sticking out. They do it the same with daffodils as well and pull them out. Though I love birds, they can be a pain in the bum. Pigeons are the worst ones for it. They're terrible culprits for it. or the cat comes across and digs them all out for you as well. Neighbour's cat.
Oh, Snufkin says, we're swimming in hedgehogs here. Take some of ours.
Oh yeah, I'd love to. Yeah, I'd love to.
I would.
Yeah, we see them very rarely here, and even though I do live quite rurally, we rarely ever see them. I think I see more squashed on the road than I do actually in the gardens.
I don't even see him on the road here, unfortunately. Well, fortunately, I suppose in some ways, but I don't see him at all.
They are becoming a rarity. They are, bless them.
Roy Bob says that his onions were in a polytunnel.
Ooh, it must have been slugs then. I'd like to know more. How how did they just disappear? How did they just? They must have rotted in the ground then, and I don't know. I can't work that one out. If you do have, some people do have issues with them rotting in the ground. So what I tend to do with, especially with bulbs, if you've got that type of ground, I would also put in a small amount of sand, but before putting the bulb, like your onion set, into the ground. That normally works, stops the bottoms from rotting out.
How deep does that need to be? That little sand, like patch.
About 2 inches, inch and a half, 2 inches.
Now, the mystery's been solved. Roy Bob saying that it was a mouse. They munched the tops, and then they had the bulbs. Ooh.
Oh no! Little so and so's. Little so and so's.
Right. Saying that they also ate some flowers and they left the garlic.
Right. Next time, plant the garlic right close up to your onions, or spray it. That's another thing I've been told. If you smash a garlic tube down and then put it into a sprayer, obviously don't put the you just want the juices basically, and you can spray that over, and that tends to keep a lot of the slugs and snails and other things away. Another one is neem oil. Some people are allergic to the neem oil. You want to use that to keep all the pests and bugs away, but also it doesn't affect ladybirds and all the things that you like and the things that you want to keep in the garden. It doesn't affect that, so it keeps all the other things away that you don't want, like slugs, snails, ants are another thing, pain in the back. Green fly, white fly, black fly, it kills those outright. So that's another handy tip for you.
Snufkin said that my friend had a young garlic disappear, but she thinks it were foxes.
I don't know. I don't know if a fox would. But then I do know that they do like digging up wild garlic, so it could be right.
Well, Jonathan, didn't you want to cover soil pH?
Oh yes, soil pH. Now, if you were looking at growing veg for the first time and you were wondering about your soil conditions and what you need to, what pH level, if you're having disappointments with your soil and nothing seems to be growing in it, the average pH for your soil should be 6.0 to 7.0. But most plants will live quite happily in lower ones, to so like about 5. But you don't want it any higher than 7 and no lower than 5. And how you find this out, you can get a meter, or you can get there's little tester kits you can buy. With these little tester kits, you just take a piece of the soil and you add it into the thing and mix it up, and it will give you a bit like a test strip, and it'd be able to tell you how much and where your pH level is. Oh yeah. Yeah, they do. It does. It's brilliant. It's also good for black spot as well. The neem oil. There's. I digress.
So Featherston Rover asks, litmus strips. Is that what you use?
Yeah, it's litmus strips that come with the pack that you buy. So I don't tend to use those. I use it's like a bit like a Geiger counter with a stick on. So it goes into the ground and you leave it in there for a couple of seconds and it will tell you what your pH level of the soil is. And you can go
They're
around.
the ones that I've been finding pictures of.
Yeah, they're the brilliant. They're the best ones to buy because you're not forever buying a testing kit that you've got to keep going over and picking up things, and rebuying it again every year. That's it. That's the ones you use. I've got that one with the which one have I got? Yeah, I've got the one that's second down on the left hand side. Oh, excuse me a moment. Dog wants to come back here.
Could you find a price on there, Jordan, for these?
£4 from B&Q, but I have a personal despisement of B&Q to the extent I would actually buy it from Amazon over them.
Really?
Oh, my hatred of B&Q is long standing.
Joys of having a dog, hey?
There we go, about £10, give or take.
£10, that's not.
Yeah,
Yeah,
give or take.
and the thing is, once you spent out on it once, you don't have to buy it again and again and again. Oh, what's
So
this?
Joe's asking, Jonathan, is compost pH balanced or should you still test the soil?
Still test it. Still test. I test all the soil. I had soil come in today. I asked for them to test it before, and they said, "Oh, we don't really test ours." So I've tested it before, and it worked out at about 6.2. So it was about more or less on right. So yeah, I would test everything just in case, because sometimes you buy these things, you buy all these composts and stuff they sell in the supermarkets and so on and so forth, and then so many people fail with their plants because of the soil. It's start at the soil base. If you're growing some plants, you need to start with the soil, because if you've got rubbish soil, you're going to have rubbish plants or rubbish results.
Yeah, that is something that the pH of the soil is something that I've come across when buying seeds. Some say that they require alkaline, others they require acidic
Yeah,
or neutral.
neutral. Yeah, you want something in the middle there somewhere. You need something.
And can you treat the soil? Can you buy something that increases or decreases the acidity?
You can buy stuff like lime and things like that to increase it or decrease it, and also it does depend on if you're using your local water and what pH level your local water is. There's a lot of things to go into it. So here, where I am, ours is very chalky, so I don't tend to like using the chalky water because it can throw the pH levels all over the option. So that's why I prefer to use rainwater, because it's normally neutral.
All right. Are you ready to take questions, Jonathan?
Yeah.
Right.
We have a question, actually. Already, an early question. Joe's getting in first.
I know. Are you talking about Joe's question? Because I've got one from Twitter.
Oh, go for the Twitter one, by all means.
Right then, we had a question from Twitter by somebody called I Voted Leave. Is it too early to start seeds indoors on the windowsills? We must grow our own vegetables this year. We completely agree.
Yeah, completely agree with that. No, it's not too early. It's not too early. I mean, some people start just after Christmas. Some people start their tomato plants just after the Christmas. So January, February, it doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. Windowsill, airing cupboard. If you've got an airing cupboard to set off germination, but don't leave it in there for too long. It's all good. Whatever you do, you can. There's a lot of stuff you can start putting into the ground already. So if you haven't, you can do broad beans. You can do cabbages, cauliflowers, broccoli, or the start of your winter crops. So it runs through the summer. Start them now, and it runs through the summer, autumn, and then you can start harvesting September time for the ones that you would do right now outside into the ground. So I've already put out onions already. I've put out potatoes as well, but I've put the potatoes in very, very, very deep.
Roy Bob's saying, just watch out for the late frost in April
Yeah,
and the mice.
and mice. Yeah, I don't tend to get May mice. I've got not here anyway because I've got so many cats. But the dog keeps the cats out of the garden, so it's handy. And eats the rats. You can start putting stuff in now into the garden. But if you're worried about late frosts, then you can always put cloches down or cover the ground, like you do. You see in a lot of the farm fields, they'll have plastic over their fields, which I don't personally like, but it's so they can force the crop on and not get hit by the frosts.
So I have a question actually. On average, how long does it take for a radish to actually to get ready to be plucked out and eaten?
What, from start to finish?
Oh, you just cut out there.
From start to
Yeah.
finish. Yeah. From start to finish, depending what stage you want to go at, if you want nice big fat ones or you want little smaller ones, juicy ones, it can take just over a month and a half. 2 months.
All right.
Depending on that also, everything will depend upon the growing environment, the seed that you use, and when you want to pick it. So it's a combination of those three. What's the next question?
Yep. If anyone in the chat wants to ask questions, now's your time.
I'm going to get back on Joe's question in that case.
Yeah.
She has asked, I was reading something about our soil being systematically demineralized over decades. Wonder if Jonathan knows anything about that and if we can combat it.
Yes. Now, one thing that we've been doing since I'd say from the 1950s, is using big pharma chemicals on our land and not putting back the minerals. It's basically also crop rotation as well. So the land is basically raped every year and nothing gets put back in it apart from man-made chemicals for things to grow. Our soil level at the moment that actually is viable is only about 6 inches at the best, right across the country, where it used to be a foot deep of viable soil. But this is all down to the big pharma companies selling their products, selling their seeds, selling a way of farming which is really not, in the long term, good for us or good for the environment.
So Sir Francis Walsingham says, what food crops would you recommend for sandy soil?
Sandy soil. No, potatoes. You could. It really doesn't matter with sandy soil. You can grow nearly anything in the sandy soil, as long as it's not too well drained. The only with a well drained soil, obviously you can't get the root structure up quicker. But if it's that sandy, Sir Francis, why don't you try and put some more organic matter into it? That can be anything. So from manure, wood chippings, so on and so forth. Anything to bulk up the sand.
So Tom Peace has said slugs and snails don't like copper.
Yeah, they don't. They don't like copper. So if you were grown in a pot in the garden, if you haven't got land to grow vegetables in, if you were grown in a pot, you can always use a copper strip around the edge of the pot to stop the slugs from curling over and eating your crop. Yeah, so they don't like copper because it's a bit like us when we have put certain metal, when the nickel comes off your fork and you put it in your mouth, you go you get like a funny like taste of shock in your mouth. It's a bit like that to them.
Snufkin has said, I have a pear tree that gets black spots on its leaves every year. Any ideas?
Yeah, you need to clean the soil around underneath. Best way to do that, don't clean the soil. It's because what happens is a bit like rose spot. So the fungus grows on the underneath of the leaf. The spore drops down onto the ground, and it starts to cycle all over again. So it'll grow on the ground, go back up into the underneath the leaves, and carry on the cycle. It'll keep going like that. So the best thing I suggest is to put bark chippings or something else underneath it.
Jordan, here's one for you.
Is there any sort of
go on.
Sorry, is there any sort of bark that you should stay away from?
Yeah, pine. Yeah, pine bark isn't very good. If you ever see a pine forest, you go looking for a pine forest. Nothing ever grows underneath a pine tree.
Yeah, it's dead underneath.
Yeah.
It's awful. Even the soil is awful.
Yeah.
So, Jordan, there's one for you. Rory Herbert says, why does pH value increase with alkalinity? That always seemed the wrong way around to me.
That is above my pay grade. That is scientist. You need a chemist for that one. I would imagine it's purely to do with they decided on a scale and they wanted 7 to be in the middle. Why exactly they wanted
It's 7,
to be
yeah.
in the middle is rather dumb. It's never made any sense to me.
No, it doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense whatsoever. You think you start at 0 and you go either side from 0.
Yeah, exactly. That would be reasonable.
So, Babyface Nielsen
reasonable.
has asked, what's the cost of having the soil of a prospective plot tested?
What is the cost? I haven't a clue is the answer to that one. Because I've never done that. What for a plot for what? For growing on, for farming on, or if it was.
Let's create a situation then. Let's say Babyface Nielsen has just bought himself a plot of land, or he's looking to buy a plot of land.
Yeah. Right. Okay. Yeah.
He's going to put a house on there. He's going to have a little garden. He wants to know what sort of soil it is for that.
Oh, for somebody to come around and test it, probably about 50 quid. That's the sort of price I would pay. I wouldn't pay any more.
That was a lot less than I expected, I'll be honest.
Yeah, it depends on who you go with, and it doesn't need to be too technical. I mean, with one of those sticks, you could do it yourself and wander around that area, probing as much as you like, basically, and finding out for yourself. It wouldn't take that long.
I think
so that answers your question. That's right then.
Yeah. Snufkin has said, thanks, the pears are okay, so hopefully it'll stop getting worse.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of anything else. If I do, I will. I'll rack my brains as we go along, and I'll come back to you, Snufkin.
Johnny Powell said, I have two 100-foot pines in my garden. Everything under them is dead, but I have a wood burner and a saw.
Ooh, best cut down then. Oh no, don't cut them down. You could put a nice big hammock in there. Thinking about it, nice hammock, and then you can have a sit there and have a G&T.
Babyface Nielsen has added some more. He said, for any various purposes, how do I know it's not it's not duff? So he's talking about
The testing.
the testing of a prospective plot.
You can buy your own testing kit to do it. Like again, you could do the soil sample testing kits, and that would give you a good idea of what sort of soil you're dealing with.
Right? Any more questions? Oh, I'll throw one into the mix. Peppermint. How long do you reckon that'll take to germinate?
Peppermint. Again, it's all variants. So with peppermint, I would give it. It can be about a week for it to start germinating, roughly. But once it goes, it will go like the clappers, and you'll have a hard job trying to control it.
Well, I think it's been about 12 or 13 days now.
13 days.
Yeah.
Did you buy some Duff seeds, or was the pH level not right, or have you not given it enough heat?
It might be heat, to be honest. I might have to plonk something on top of it all.
Yeah. Have you? Are they? Is your container? Has it got like clean film over the top?
No.
Start with clean film, rubber band around the top, and then stick it somewhere nice and warm. Preferably on a radiator or in a hot window.
Okay. And shall I do that with the chilies as well?
Oh yeah. Chilies definitely need that extra bit of heat. Same with peppers; they need that extra bit of heat to start germinating. Because you've got to remember with peppers, a Mediterranean plant. If depending where the chilies have come from, I'm not au fait with the variety you've got. They come from hot, warm climates, so they need that hot warmth to start germinating.
All right. Thanks.
Is it a fair rule of thumb to say you should do that with all plants that you start off indoors?
Mostly, yeah. I haven't done it. What have I got now? I've got my yellow tomatoes, my vine tomatoes. I've got my brown Pomodoro ones. None of those have been on the radiator. Also, I've got my other Czech bush ones. And none of those have been on the radiator, and they've all started. They've all been on the windowsill waiting, and they've all started in the last few days, and they've been in there for the last week, roughly about a week. And I was getting to the point where nothing's happening. I had a good look, and they're all up. Same with my cucumber; they've all come up as well. And that's just sunlight. But my kitchen is hot. It's in the windowsill in my kitchen, and that's south facing, so it gets the tail end of the sun, say from about 1 o'clock to when it goes down. And of course, the kitchen's hot anyway because we're always cooking in it.
Yeah, I'll definitely give that a go then. I'm looking forward to actually having some chilies. But if all three of them actually germinate, because I've got three on the go, there'll be tons. I'll be giving them away.
No,
Nobody will have them as well because they'll be too hot.
no. Dry them out. Let them dry right out. So cut them off, let them dry out, and then you've got chilies, dried chili for. You can turn them into chili flakes or whatever you want to turn them into, or pickle them. Yeah, pickle them's a good idea. But yeah, that's what I would do with them. If you have too many.
How would you go about getting seeds off them? Just out of curiosity.
Out of curiosity. So once they're ready and ready to pick, so once you've done the drying part of it, then you can literally just cut down the side of them, and they should sound before you open. They should sound like a maraca. So you could hear the chick 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 of the seeds inside. I don't think I've got one now. I did have one looking around over there. It's gone now. I think I put it in the bin because I didn't want it. But yeah, they should sound like a maraca, so that you'll know that they're ready to be harvested out of that seed pod. And again, be careful, because even though they're dry and it gets under your nails, just be careful. Yeah, go on.
Johnny Enoch Powell has said, "My friend who is an arborist just got promoted to a new position, branch manager."
Well put out.
So Joe has said, "Jonathan, for someone gardening for the first time, could you suggest some easy plants to begin with, and any tools that are must-haves?" Yeah, fantastic question.
Oh yeah, must have tools. Spade, fork, hand trowel, hand fork. Those are a watering can with a rose on the end, so it gives you fine as well as a hard drizzle, and you can have the fine mist. Those are ones of your essentials. So and a good pair of secateurs is good. It's always handy because you never know when you might have to clip something off. What else? Wow. So, what's the easiest thing to grow for first timers? Potatoes. I always say potatoes because you just chuck them in the ground, and as they pop their heads through, you just chuck some more soil on. Tomatoes is another one. That's an easy thing to grow. Most of the lettuces are easy enough to grow. Say me. I find most things quite easy to grow myself. So I don't, because I've been doing it for so many years. It's really hard to sort of like say to somebody, well, yeah, try and grow broad beans without getting broad blight on them or something like that. Let me have a think.
What about radishes?
Radishes are fairly easy. Beetroot, which I know Joe loves beetroot. They're easy to grow. Strawberries, I see somebody's putting their strawberries. Most of the herbs, so things like chive, that's so easy to grow, and it's a bit of a weed. Things like basil, thyme. Thyme is so easy to grow. I think it's one of the easiest things to grow, thyme. I will put on, talking about thyme, I will put on Discord at some point one of the gardens I designed, and the steps that run through the garden all have thyme. So each step you walk on, you get a pungent smell of thyme, and they're all different types of thymes. at lots and lots of different types of times. So I'll put that on Discord for everyone to see at some point. And I'll show you how to maintain it.
Snufkin has said, I'm itching to plant my carrots, but I'm not trusting these cold nights.
No, that's fine. You'll be fine. Long as you cover them, once you've put them into the ground, cover them. Depending if you're putting them into the ground or into a raised bed or pot. No, you'll be fine. I'm actually about to do mine as well. I'm down in the southwest, but I know we're a little bit warmer down here. But no, I'm about to put mine in as well. So those are the Manchester ones I was telling you about. They're semi-hardy, but I'll still put cloches over them. Now, Snufkin, if you're on Discord, or you ought to be on Discord, I can run through it with you. I suggest you put them in soon. A dibber.
Dibber.
A dibber, yes. Dibbers are helpful, especially if you're doing onions. Onion sets, that is. A hoe. Sorry. Hoes are good, for weeding. But there's nothing like a good fork instead of a hoe. Any other suggestions?
Old Mother Earth has said, you must have good soil.
Yes, yeah. It's the thing is with soil. We need to go back to the old-fashioned way of doing and helping the soil, because it's not the fields are so nearly sterile these days, or overworked, basically raped. That
You and I were speaking about this the other night. I said that last year the yield from the field that's out back behind me was pretty average at best.
yeah.
This year it looks to be even worse. It is now getting absolutely swarmed by pigeons.
Oh yeah.
And I know they plant more than they need to because they know the pigeons are there, but there is an enormous pigeon flock out there pretty much all day. So at one stage the field was moving.
Yeah, pigeons are a nightmare. But yeah, that's why I've not done it yet, but I am looking into doing this no-dig policy. There's a lady on my allotment, and she's been doing it for the last 5 years. And speaking to her the other day, and looking at her soil quality, was amazing, absolutely amazing. To look at mine's not had hardly any work on it, because obviously I've only just taken it back. But her soil quality, and you can go over and you can actually put your finger straight into the soil, and you can see all the microbes and bits and pieces. It's alive. It's absolutely alive. Whereas you go to mine and you turn over the soil, you'll see the odd slug and centipede, but not like hers. Hers is absolutely brimming with life, absolutely brimming with life. And she's only, 100 yards away from me? So it does prove that theory could work, and could work quite well. So I'm debating with the other half of my allotment. Are you going to put it up? Jordan?
Oh, sorry, I've been getting it. One sec.
Hang on.
You caught me. I was halfway through the middle of going to grab something else, actually.
Well, while you're waiting, Jonathan Roybob has suggested strawberries.
Strawberries, yeah. I have a strawberry patch in the middle of mine. It doesn't look very healthy at the moment, but I think with a bit of TLC, I think I could get it back up and running nicely.
Oh, Johnny, not Powell, has said, tried peppers last year. An utter waste of time. One pepper the size of a strawberry.
Uh, yeah, so this is half of my allotment, as you see there. There's a derelict one next to me. This is what I've turned over and reset. I mean, the person that had it before me, she didn't really reset it very well. And then I've got this side to do. Now I'm wondering if to do on this side the no dig policy. It has partly, if you can see right up to the very very top there, you can see that there's an area that's already somebody's already dug. So that's as far as mine goes to that far furthest point. But I'm wondering if to do a no dig policy on that last part. But I've still got to get rid of all this rubbish that's on this side. I'd really like to take over the plot next to me, but we'll see.
There was a documentary I watched on no-till gardening. Sorry, it wasn't no-till gardening. It was actually no-till farming. It was a proper documentary on soil and soil health, and I'm trying to bloody well find it. I can't do it now. It was really, really quite interesting. It was about an hour and a half long, I think. At least it felt that way. And it was just really bloody interesting how these people how they tested it, how they went into detail on it, and it actually kind of convinced me. And I really didn't expect it because it's something that I've seen done on the farm that I live on, and it doesn't seem to work terribly well. So I didn't expect it to do much good. But I was happy to say I was very, very, very wrong.
Yeah, I think it takes quite a few years for it to actually show fruition when you do the no dig policy. So the way I was going to do it is reset those borders at the bottom there, and then put, because if you can see the brown bit just in the middle there by that end, what was a shed there. That is the strawberry beds. That's the one that needs the TLC, and then I've got raspberry canes down the other side. But that piece in the middle there, I'm going to try and do the no dig policy there. So I'm going to put cardboard down. So I'm going to set aside some of the soil from one part, and then I'm going to put the cardboard down and then put the soil on top, and then plant directly in the soil that's left on the top, and then see how we go. But also stops a lot of the weeds. Factually.
Yep, Deconstructor said, my old man has got pak choi down to a fine art.
I love pak choi, but they are a bit frost tender. They are lovely. They are the brassica family, but they can be a bit frost tender. They are nice. I do like them. They're nice in the stir fry.
Snuffkin has said, I recommend a tomato variety called Gardener's Delight for beginners. They grow in pots and are manageable 5 foot.
Yeah. I don't know if they're an F1 off the top of my head. That's something we ought to push as well, that we don't, people do. It's a good suggestion. Don't get me wrong, Snuffkin. But I do want people to step away from anything that is F1s or hybrids. Go back to your old-fashioned style of tomatoes and plants and so on and so forth.
Rory Herbert has said, there's a variety of onion known as the Red Baron. Have you ever grown them? And if so, are they dangerous?
I have heard of them. I don't think they're dangerous. I don't even know if they're from Germany. No. I don't think they're dangerous. No.
Roy Bob has asked, "What's good for low light gardens?"
Low-light gardens. Um, Low-light gardens. Now, and that depends which way round your sun comes. If it's an early morning, you get the early morning, or you get the late afternoon. The mushrooms, yeah. I've seen that, Timmy. Um, there are varieties that you can buy specifically for those. I can't think of any off the top of my head at the moment. I had a low light garden. I had two huge trees that were in my garden. One was infected with the um, oh god, what's it called? Ash dieback. So that had to come down. And then there was a horrible conifer tree, so that came down as well. All got shredded up and put into the garden. But that's solely so I could get more light and take the disease out of the garden. But I don't at the moment. I haven't got anything to come to mind. I can let you know, Roy, on Discord, because you're on Discord. So I'll let you know. Have a look and poke about and see what I can find for you. Any other questions?
So Old Mother Earth has said that they're going to start growing again this year. Nice, that's fantastic news.
Good for you. What do you intend to grow? Be interesting to see.
Roy Bob has said, "No dig can't be quite an expensive start unless you get a lot of quality topsoil cheap." Wait, no dig.
Sorry, sir.
No dig can be quite an expensive start unless you get a lot of quality topsoil cheap. I think that's how it.
Yeah, you don't need to bring in the soil. You just need to take a layer out so you can so basically, you'll take the topsoil that you've got, put that to one side, put your cardboard down, put that back over the top, and then you can start from a scratch from there. And then you can just add things like manure and things like that. So it's cheap. You don't have to. It doesn't have to be expensive. By bringing in other soil from other places, you don't know what the contaminations are on those soils. That's the only issue. So if you were to put manure on there, that shouldn't be such a bad thing.
At the end of the day, life wants to live. So if you work with what you've got and you work within the constraints that you have, so for example, a low light garden, what have you, you're probably going to be okay. When it comes to things like improving the soil quality, the soil really wants to be healthy.
Yeah.
It doesn't want to be unhealthy and miserable.
Yeah. So you're best staying away from chemicals, basically.
Yeah. So it might take some time. It might not be great the first couple of years, but from then on, it could improve rapidly. And then by the end, after 4, 5, 6 years, whatever, it could be wonderful soil. And you could have started off with absolutely god-awful lumpy clay.
Yeah. Well, it's a shame I haven't got any photos of what this site used to look like when I first got it. I think I must have some somewhere, but I'd have to look it back in through my photos somewhere. And it was just a bloody mess. And the lady that, because you know what it is with these council allotments, if you give them back, you never get them back. So I subletted it to another lady, so she can. She did all the hard work of getting it semi up together. Still a bloody mess. Which I took it back this year. So I'm going to start resetting it and making it more viable, because it was an awful mess to begin with.
So Snuffkin has said, "I have French sorrel in a low light patch. It loves a bit of shade. Citrus flavoured leaves for 8 months of the year."
Yeah, that's a good. Yeah, I've got 2 tubs of sorrel. I think it's the English sorrel. Mine um, has just restarted growing from last year, and it's up against the greenhouse in quite a dark spot. Yeah, if things want to grow, they will grow regardless.
So old Mother Earth has said that they're growing tomatoes, carrots, and greens and onions.
Ooh, nice.
Nice. Good luck with that. I hope it all works out.
Good for you. And let us know how it does go, how it all turns out.
Johnny Powell has said, "My missus swears by putting horse manure on her rhubarb, but I find it tastes much better with custard."
that is yeah, that is. There's a bit of truth in that. Yes, with rhubarb, an interesting thing about rhubarb is that you can get these forces, so you can force your rhubarb at the beginning of the year, and it will come up quite sort of pale, very very pale colour underneath the dome that you're growing them in. So it's like a clay dome that you put over the top, and those are very very tender. There's a place up in just outside of Leeds, I think it is somewhere around the Leeds area, that was known as the rhubarb triangle.
Yeah.
And they were known for doing this. They had all these funny looking pots in the fields, growing just reams and reams and reams of rhubarb. And it's and there's still places there that still do it, but it's not as far as commercial as it used to be. But people have gone off the idea of eating rhubarb. It's a shame. It's one of my favourites with custard.
Yeah, I love making rhubarb custard, a rhubarb crumble.
Mm. Yeah, rhubarb crumble is lovely.
Rhubarb and apple crumble is my favourite.
Ooh.
I don't like rhubarb by itself, but you put it with some apple, put it in a crumble, 10 out of 10.
Oh, when we were kids, we used to have like a little bowl of sugar, and we used to go down the garden and snap the fresh rhubarb off. Obviously, you can't eat the leaf. The leaf is poisonous, by the way. And then just dip it in the sugar and eat the rhubarb like that. Oh, lovely.
Roy Bob's saying they do it in massive sheds. It grows so quick you can hear the eerie creak as it grows.
Ooh. Ah, so we must be a northerner. Rhubarb crumble and custard. Mm. Blackberry and apple. Oh, yeah, I like blackberry and apple. Oh, anything like that. Any fruits. Oh, gooseberries. Oh, yeah, gooseberries. Now, I've had so many times that I've tried to grow gooseberries in my garden, and they just won't grow. They will not take. It doesn't matter what I do. They will not take in my garden. I don't know what it is. They just don't take. It's unfortunate. But my brother-in-law had in his garden. He's got the most huge. It's like a bush. You could actually nearly walk inside it. It's a massive gooseberry bush. It is huge. I've never seen anything like it.
Snufkin said that I dip raw rhubarb in sugar. It's lovely.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
haven't tried that.
yeah. You've got to try it. You've got to try it.
Right, shall we wrap up?
Unless there's any other questions, has anybody got anything else they want to ask?
Poor Susie just got there.
Oh, hello, Susie.
You're going to
Hello,
have to go
Susie.
back and watch the modeler.
Yeah,
I enjoyed tonight. That was bloody interesting.
I'm waiting to do my these collars, these pallet collars. So all I've done now is I've got them all lined up in the garden, ready to go, and I've started using the soil. You'd laugh at the name of the company I use. They're called Crapper and Sons. Honestly, I'll take a photo. I'm not lying. It's called Crappers and Son. It's from Mr. Crapper's compost heap. So yeah, it's lovely soil. It's absolutely lovely. It's a mixture of topsoil with I think it looks like bar chippings. It's a compost that they've put in there, but it looks mainly on the main. It looks like wood chippings and bits and pieces like that that's been composted down. It's got that rich you can smell the soil. It's got that rich sort of humus smell when you're lifting it out from the bag.
Right.
Ah,
Well, I think it's been a fantastic show. I think we
I agree.
covered a lot. Hopefully people have got a lot out of it and can put it to use.
yeah,
So,
yeah.
so the next one will be on the 25th. So that's a Thursday, not next Thursday, the Thursday after. So put that in your diaries.
And
Go on.
before we go, and if anybody's got any other more questions, save them for the next show. Or if not, if you're on Discord, ask away.
Yep. So with that, goodbye everybody, and take care.
Good night, everyone. Take care.
See you tomorrow.
Happy planting.